Opening up to people is difficult for me. Communication was not a priority for my family growing up. There was hardly any communication between me, my siblings, and my mother. My name is Gloria Mae Francis. I was born on February 12, 1930 in North Carolina. I'm the oldest of 9 children. My mother was a twin and her sister also had 9 children. I was not named after any family members because Gloria Mae is not my first name. When I was a few days old, my parents had changed my name. To this day, I still don't know why, but I only know that I was the only one in my family with that name. When I think of North Carolina, I hated it. If you ask me now, I'd probably just laugh it off, but deep down I have my reasons. I lived in Baltimore until I was 21. I got married, but soon my husband lost his job and we had to move to New Jersey and started trying to make a living here. Growing up on a farm, there were certain things that you had to do to ensure that you were making a proper living. If I ever went back to North Carolina, I wouldn't know what I would want to change. Back home has so many memories that my head and my heart are still trying to wrap around. City life and country life are like night and day. Country life is better than before, but it's totally different than city life. My earliest childhood memory was living in a house with 3 bedrooms. The first was for my mother and my father, and the other 2 were for me and my siblings, one for the boys and one for the girls. There was a stove where you had to put wood in it to make it warm. To tell you the truth now, though, if you were cold or you wanted to turn up the heat, you didn't have the privilege to do so. We went along with whatever was going on. We never complained, you know. My mother was the woman who had the most influence on me. We were poor, but my mother never complained. My father wasn't a good provider, but my mother would feed us whatever she had, and that's what we had. My mother and I never communicated. Whatever she said, that was it. Out of everything, though, she was a peacemaker. Whatever we did, she just wanted to do it peacefully. I wish we could have communicated more. I like food. I like vegetables. I like chicken wings, the tips, turkey wings, the tips. I don't know if you ever heard of yellow turnips. My pastor cooked them a few weeks ago and gave me some. I used to cook them all the time for my son-in-law and my daughter, and they loved them. In my free time, I like to do crossword puzzles, word searches, watch TV shows like Matlock, but most of all, I like communicating with people. I think we should all love one another, respect one another, honor one another. The person that is feeling low, that is feeling down, that is the person we should be raising up. These are phrases that I live by. My thing is to help one another, to help people and to do the best I can in order to help them. I had taken in 3 different sets of children. The first pair didn't live far from me, but they didn't have any heat, and the mother would neglect them to go watch TV at her cousin's house. So my friend and I went over there. I took in 3, and my friend took in the other 2. And that was the first set I had had. The second pair was my cousins. The mother died, and their father was an alcoholic ridden with grief. They weren't foster kids because they weren't in the system, so I automatically took them to the first set due to the lack of heat, and they were living in the basement apartment. The mother of the last set of kids had died, and I took them in too. I was very blessed to have all of them, and that their relationship with my own kids was very good. As I said, I had my own kids, and I actually had 6 of them. Bernard, a.k.a. Chill, Phyllis, Celestine, James, Anthony, and Eric. Each of my kids had 2 years between them, and the last set of 2 had an age difference of 6 years. My youngest one always called himself the black sheep of the family. My husband had 3 favorites, and because Eric was so close to me, Those three represented it and me. My husband and my second youngest died 3 weeks apart. My daughter died of leukemia. She went back into remission and the cancer came right back. She died on the 13th of October. And December of 19th of the same year, our house burnt down. Coming up, my marriage was never good. And the word now, it's a password, but practically everyone uses it. I love you. I love you. Whether or not they mean it, it's a password. Back in the day, those are words we never heard. However, when we were coming up as children, the phrase that I would always think of was to be seen, not to be heard. This phrase will always be with me, but has been changed since I've gotten the opportunity to know about other people's stories and their influence through working in nursing homes, and have made connections with people who would always stay with me. Like a rose, I am a simple woman, but I am full of love, and although my thorns are ready to prick, I do not mean any harm. I appreciate all of you for listening to my story, because I don't open up to people often. So thank you.